Okay. Well, hello, everybody. It's good to see everybody again. Back in Seattle, where it's nice and cooler, only 80 degrees. Today we're going to start going over the colors again. It was a lot of fun last time. If you've got questions, please let me know your questions. We're going to be looking at the whites, the blacks, and the grays. And I'll tell you something about them, and then I'm going to ask Giovanni, Angela, Anna, Gabriel, and there's quite a few more, to paint out some samples so you can kind of see them and maybe what they like about the particular color themselves. So I was watching something last night. It was on history of color. It was really interesting. And because you always ask me why do some pigments, which pigments get used the most, etc. I learned something I didn't know. Early in World War II, they figured they had to paint the equipment. Actually, it's before that. It was actually Ford during the Model A and Model T. They were having rust, etc., happening to their vehicles. And so they started putting rust prevention on them. And that was followed up by the Army doing it as well to their tanks and then to their aircraft. And they initially used a zinc chromate or zinc chromium. And that probably wasn't the best thing to use. So they moved to the zinc chromate, but it didn't last as long. So they tried to figure out how could they make it last longer. And they came up with the idea of adding lamp black. And so here in Washington State, we have Boeing, and the planes are green. And that's because when you put the lamp black into the zinc chromate, it turns green. So that's all rust prevention, etc. That's being turned that color because of lamp black. So if you figure how much pigment has to be added to paint a plane, and there's thousands of planes being made, you can see that that's a very, very popular pigment. I thought from color, the other thing I saw that was really interesting is they were talking about color, like we do quite a bit. And they were saying how green is a very comforting color. So the inside of cabins of aircraft for many, many decades were painted green. And in the operating room, they use green clothing, because when they're cutting and the doctors and nurses are seeing red, if you were wearing red, you would see kind of a halo effect. And so green allows them not to have that. I just thought, color is so interesting how we use it. And sometimes even, not knowing, there's a huge story behind it. So it's really, really neat. So I thought we would go, thank you. Thank you. So I thought we'd go over the colors today. We'll go over the blacks, the grays. We'll go over the two whites, titanium white, Chinese white. We'll do buff titanium, gray titanium as well. Which color do you think is the darkest color?
Of the white.
I'm sorry?
So of the white.
Of the blacks.
Of the black.
I agree.
Is it indigo?
So of the blacks.
Lamp black.
Lamp black. Lamp black.
That's good lamp.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Mars black.
I'm sorry?
Mars black.
Mars black is lunar black. So lunar black is 65. And as a comparison, on the brightness scale, lamp black is a 28. So lamp black is really quite dark of the blacks.
What is the name of the scale that you were using, please?
That's a C-Lab scale. So you guys can look that up on Excel. Thanks for asking that. And it's the L value. It's the L value for brightness.
We'll paste the C-Lab link to the C-Lab from our website in the chat.
Oh, awesome. Yeah,
Where does Alvaro's sit on that percentage?
So here's Here's Alvaro Fresco is right here. And it's a 47. And Alvaro's Caliente is a 41.
Where
So-
does McCracken black fit on there? Do you know?
So of course I do.
I'm not seeing it.
You know what? But you're not seeing it. I think I posted that to, I believe that is now up on the main site. But let me get it here because I have it. Let me freeze everything.
It wasn't the list that was built before there, John.
Yeah, it was it's on the current list. I reposted it back up again. I'm looking for it right now. I'll have to find that for you and get back to you later on when I will look it up.
No worries. I just thought it was the darkest, but looking at the brochure, it definitely is not.
No, it should actually fall somewhere in, it's probably going to fall somewhere in here.
Awesome.
I don't see shadow violet.
Shadow violet's not a black. Right? So shadow violet is the ultramarine, the viridian, and the pyro orange. So it wouldn't be listed here. It is
John,
listed under the C Lab. They're all listed. So you can go there on the Daniel Smith site and you can see everything listed and sort it by whatever you'd like to sort it by. The only thing that's not listed for brightness are going to be the luminescent, and that's because they're off the chart. They're going to be north of 98. So it's meaningless to list them because they're as bright can be. And you'd expect that because when you hit them with light, the mica, etc., is going to reflect so much light back, it just goes off the chart. So it's not worth listing it from that perspective.
John,
Yes.
do we assume that these paints in this list are all single pigments?
No, they're not.
Right,
No,
it's
so
my
that's
mix-
listed as well. We actually list not on this table, but on the characteristics table, it'll list every pigment that's in the particular color. And just like when you buy something at the store, when you look at the pigments, if it said, see, pigment, blue, 27, and then it said pigment, brown, 7. It just says there's more of this than there is of this. And it just goes down the line.
That's the general convention, isn't it? The first one
Yes.
has the most.
Yes, it is. Yep. And so we adhere to that. Okay, so lamp black. So lamp black is the darkest. It's cooler than ivory black and it's very opaque. That's the characteristics of lamp black. Ivory black is really kind of neat because it's warmer than lamp black, and on the edges it has that kind of yellowish, warmish tint to it, which is quite pretty. Then we have lunar black. Lunar black, as you were saying, Ian, lunar black is also Mars black. It has excessive granulation, what's very unique about the lunar black is a synthetic pigment that's all the same size, shape, and weight. So from all those things, it should not granulate, but it's a series of nanoparticles that repel each other, which is why it has such great granulation. And maybe Giovanni or Anna or Gabriel can lay some of the lunar out and then put yellow, and you'll actually see it move away from the yellow, which is a really kind of cool thing about the lunar black.
Which yellow?
Any yellow you want, Hansa yellow, pretty much any yellow. Tourmaline is a granulating mineral, and it's softer and cooler than the other 3 blacks we just talked about. It's cooler and softer than the lunar, the ivory, or the lamp. And then there's McCracken Black, which is Lauren McCracken's signature mix. And
May I
it's-
interrupt you?
Yes.
May I interrupt you? Do you mind stepping back one moment and saying, you described the paint tourmaline with vocabulary I wasn't familiar with. Can you go in a little bit more depth about what does that mean, that it's warmer and softer? Can you give more examples to describe
Sure, if
that?
you look at
What does that mean?
Ivory
Thank
black is a very warm black, right? If you look at it, you brush it out and look at it. We can do that here on the screen. If one of you would actually brush it out, it's a warm black. Lunar black, dark black, but the characteristics is what makes it really interesting. Lamp black is the darkest. So if you put lamp black next to lunar black, it's no mistake which one's which. Lamp black is very, very, very dark. The tourmaline is, because it's a mineral, it's very granulating, and softer means if you look at it, it's more on the ivory black side. It's a softer black. It's not that vibrant, deep black. So it's even softer in terms of ivory black being soft. It's even more soft than ivory black. And then McCracken Black is a series of Lauren's we use multiple pigments to get his black. It's neat because it's quite flat and it's also very transparent. And that's the one he uses and goes over a very lengthy discussion about how he warms it up or how he can cool it down. And if you've not seen that video from Lauren, it's really, really worthwhile watching. The two new ones that were coming out in November are black, red, green. And it's black made with one red and one green, and black, blue, orange. And that's black with one blue and two orange pigments.
John,
Yes.
obviously you can mix blacks with
Yes, you can.
various different, like for example, a simple one is burnt umber and ultramarine blue, for example. Do you ever test those colors against the actual colors that you've got there to see whether they match up, or higher or lower, or?
You lost me there.
When you mix a particular color, like we've just said, with burnt umber and ultramarine blue, it gets a black, doesn't it? Or it's a very dark color. Do you ever test that against any of the blacks that you have in the tubes?
No.
No.
No. If we were going to make it into a color, if we're going to make it into a color, we would. But if you look at the amount of colors that we have, 261 now, 268, it becomes just a mammoth number of the amount of mixes you can do. Could we test it? Absolutely. We have all the internal equipment to do it. So yes, absolutely, we could do it. We have a xenon phaedometer. We could test it for light fastest. We do all that. But again, it becomes, if we're not going to bring it to the market, then from a manufacturing standpoint, there's no reason to do that.
Yeah. I mean, the main thing that makes black look black is a contrast next to it. How contrasted the thing is.
John, I've got a lunar black with a yellow.
Oh, there we go.
I think it has a yellow.
Okay, that's beautiful.
It's Angela.
That's almost like marble.
And it is super, super granulating, as you can see. It did all by itself.
Yeah. So it'll actually move away from the yellow. It's a really interesting. Could you also, Angela, if you have lamp black, could you do the same thing with lamp black?
I will, yes, I will do it. I have it in stick. I will try it with a stick.
Okay.
Sorry,
I
Angela.
have the same mixture, but it's with the powder.
Okay, I'd like to see that. So you say mixture, meaning you have lunar black with hands of yellow.
Yes, but powder.
Oh, very cool.
And I have lunar black with azo yellow here, and I have it sprayed in vertical.
Can we see that, Angela? I see
Yeah,
that.
we'll add, is that Anna? Yeah, Anna.
That's
Yes.
Anna. Yes.
There.
Lovely.
Very cool. And then can we see Giovanni's?
Gio's top camera. Here we go.
Thank you, Anna.
Yeah, very beautiful.
Very nice.
No, this makes it does.
It's a really neat characteristic of it. Okay, so the next one is neutral tint. Neutral tint is a gray. So it's a gray that doesn't lean in any one direction. So it's a really interesting way to bring down the vibrancy of a color without losing the color itself. Payne's gray. Many artists also use Payne's gray to do the same thing, and it's a traditional artist gray. So I have them all to show you what they
John,
are.
do you have two Payne's gray? One that's slightly more blue.
Yes, we do. We have Payne's gray and Payne's blue gray.
Mm.
You want to see them?
Yeah, why not? Because it's nice to
I
see
like
what the
that.
comparison
Why
is.
not? Yeah. For all of you on Facebook, I've had the hardest time with Facebook. I don't know what's changed. It's probably me. But I've not figured out how I can see if you're asking questions. So I apologize for that. And hello.
We'll help read questions for you, John.
Thank you very much.
So is this traditional Payne's gray?
This is Payne's gray. This is Payne's gray.
So you can see a slight bluiness to it. It's more a grey blue, isn't it?
So that's Payne's gray. This one's going to be Payne's blue gray.
Mhm.
I have tourmaline with Mayan yellow.
Mm.
So this is
I
Payne's
made
blue gray and Payne's
neutral
gray.
tint with quin coral.
The blue yeah, the blue one it seems a bit deeper, darker, although
It is both deeper and darker. Yes, this one
Yeah.
looks more bluish gray. This one's definitely,
a very dark
way
blue.
blue. Very
Yeah.
dark.
Oh yeah, it's nice. That's nice to see the difference. There's one. I don't know whether I'm crossing the streams here with color and light and things, but there was something that said that the middle point of grey is 18%. I don't get that, because you would think it would be 50%, but that might be in a different field of light and how it's used.
Maybe it was a specific pigment for the mix, proportion for the mix for a specific pigment.
I don't know, but this it was a scientific paper or reading. I don't think it was specifically to do with art. It was more to do with how you test to see where middle grey is. And they said that it were 18%, which is weird.
18% comes from photography. It
Probably were that.
reflects a neutral gray reflects 18% of the light.
That's probably where it were, yeah.
It's Harrison.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
remember
thank you.
it were, yeah. Does that not have the same situation in our field? Or do we assume that 50% is middle?
Most of the grays fall at, for the light value fall very close to 50. So Alvaro's is 47, Jane's gray is a 50, Payne's gray is a 47, Graphite gray is a 45. So they fall, gray falls around that area.
Mhm. When we take photographs for, you know, for use in paintings, would that have an effect if we weren't aware of it? I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking that.
They're different. I think they're much different than each other.
Mhm. Yeah. I have to have a little bit more into it because I know what to do with photography, but I can't. It just confused me a lot. Might get confused easily.
So this is the Caliente, Alvaro's Caliente gray, and this is Alvaro's Fresco gray. And you ever seen Alvaro? He does these quite quickly when he's doing presentations. One of the issues becomes when there's a lot of people in the class. So he wanted something where the students could buy it, and then pretty soon they would learn how to do it themselves. And he told me that he actually uses quite a bit. Instead of doing the mixing himself, he'll use his tube of paint to start with. So this one is Caliente, and this one is the Fresco.
And to me, while I'm looking at that, that has like an undertone of warmth.
This one. We don't have an artist tomorrow, so there's not going to be a live artist, but we will have next week, which I'm looking forward to.
You can have Terry. Terry Lahara.
So Terry is from Mexico.
Are you going to be there, John?
In Mexico?
Yep.
No, decided to stay here.
Oh, you bet.
Because every time I travel, I isolate for 10 days. And we're getting ready to go to South America for almost a little over a month. So I'm going to be away from the company for quite some time. I know, Mexico has been so close my whole life. I've never gone there. And I was telling Stella and Terry, I really, really, really want to go. And I will go. Okay, so we see McCracken. Did we see McCracken black? I'll do McCracken black. And let's see, several of you have shown the lunar black. Angela, were you able to do the lamp black?
Yes, I did.
Can you show everybody the lamp black as compared to
lamp
the lunar
black?
black?
I don't know if you can see it. It's here.
Yep. So it just kind of hides that yellow.
Yeah, just a moment. Exactly. It doesn't react in the same way. Can you see?
Yeah,
This is the lamp black, and this is the lunar black.
It kind of stands up to the colour, doesn't it? Rather than cracks and breaks up, it kind of says, I'm as strong as you are.
Excuse me, say that again.
The other one that you've just done, it
Yes.
doesn't crack and break up and
No,
Black.
this is lamp black,
yeah.
and the other one is lunar black. This one here is lunar black,
Mm-hmm.
but this one granulates and moves away from the yellow. It was not
Okay.
Hansa yellow, but anyway, it's another yellow.
It's a little bit yellow phobic.
Yeah, it might have been New Gamboge, or
Whereas the other one,
and this one is Hansa yellow light. This one is Hansa yellow light. This one, Hansa yellow light. This one.
is that because it's more of a blue orientated colour that it stood up to the yellow?
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
More orangey, more warmer.
Right.
But the behavior, as John says, it hides the yellow. If you put black on top, it covers. It doesn't move away. I'm going to try it with other grays and blacks. The yellow, same yellow with other grays and blacks.
So the lunar black will either move away or the other pigment can actually float on top. So it has different characteristics depending on the pigment.
How
Thank you,
how
Angela.
about opacity? What difference is there in the blacks with opacity?
Well, if you can see through the black to see, and you can see the paper, it's going to be less opaque than one that covers it up. So the lamp black, which covers up a great deal of the underlying paper, is going to have a much higher opacity. If we look at the, so I'll show you. So this is black tourmaline. And so Anna, when I was saying it was softer, you can see it's a much softer color, and it's on the light scale, it's 65. You see that it's actually a very bright black. It's even brighter than ivory black. Ivory black has, I'll do ivory black. Ivory black, when we do it, it's going to have more of a yellowish on the outer sides of the black, but it's still a warm black. Whereas the lamp black is a very, very dark black. So I'll put the lamp black next to the, and this one here is the Kraken black.
Just addressing ivory black, obviously these days it's not made of ivory, is it?
Chicken
But-
bones.
Oh, is it chicken bones, is it?
Yeah, it's usually
Right.
chicken bones.
Right. Can most bones be used to make
John, there's a
think-
request. Sorry.
Yeah,
There's a request from Caroline from Facebook. I'm not sure whether we did this already. This is for a request for Alvaro's grays. If we could wash it out to see their transparency and qualities.
okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Giovanni. So, hey, Gabriel, are you there?
Yeah,
Do you have Alvaro's 2 grays?
I'm on it right now.
Awesome. So thank
I'm
you,
on it right
Caroline.
now.
So Gabriel's going to show that.
Just
Yes,
an
what-
FYI on the ivory, on the lamp black, glazes very well. So if you want to get a deep, dark, seriously black, it's very easy to get if you just glaze it.
Awesome.
I've also done a fresco gray with the yellow.
Oops.
So there's my swatch,
Victoria Caliente.
and I've added lots of water. This is the fresco, and this is
Caliente.
caliente. full strength, and then lots of water. Full strength, lots of water.
Gabrielle,
Yeah.
you showed us a picture a couple of weeks ago of a tonal value painting that you did. Would you recommend people just use one, you know, like one black to create that? Or is it okay to do lots of different blacks within the painting? Or does that make a mess of it?
So I would either choose a warm black and stay all warm black, or I would use a cool black. So a good example is Joseph Zavokovich's cool gray and warm. Or you can use his neutral tint. And if you go to our blog, you can see some wonderful examples. Oh, I apologize, that's great titanium. But if you go to the blog, you will see that he took all three of his grays in the neutral tints and he did the same exact scene, and you can see the beautiful, like what you're saying, a nice value. It's a beautiful piece. It's hard for me to call it a value study.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Could we have a comparison with Joseph Zavokovich is neutral grey and the normal neutral grey to see what
You bet.
is there?
We've just
Yeah, I could do that.
pasted in the chat our blog for Joseph's grays.
Yeah, I'm on it.
So there's Joseph's neutral, his cool, and his warm.
And I've got the neutral tint and Joseph's neutral tint.
Neutral gray.
I apologize. Neutral gray.
Is there a difference between the term neutral grey and neutral tint? Or is it just a naming convention that?
There's a difference.
Right.
Neutral tint beside it, then you can see Gabriel's as well.
I had to get some clean water.
So this is neutral tint. You see neutral tint is actually much darker than Joseph's neutral gray or his cool gray or his warm gray. So warm gray here to me is these two are similar, his cool gray and his neutral gray. They're both very pretty. This one's very flat, but this is much different, the neutral tint.
So where would graphite
Graphite too.
sit in amongst those?
Graphite's going to be very light. I'll show it to you right here.
Yeah, will do, yeah.
More yellow.
It's a pretty awesome color.
Well, I've added it to my pencil kit for doing various.
It actually doesn't have real graphite in it. It's a synthetic color.
All right, because I looked the pigment number up and it said that were graphite, but I don't know.
So there's your Joseph gray, and there's your neutral tint. And next to there is your graphite gray.
Right. Yeah, it is like a cooler blue, a cooler gray, isn't it? That.
Gabriel,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but with them all being grays, can you point to which one is which so that I can tell, please?
This is graphite gray.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. This is neutral tint. It's more purpley.
Yeah.
And then we got this one is Joseph gray.
Thank you.
Graphite gray.
Have you got some
You're welcome.
black paper, John, to test the whites?
Sorry,
Have you got some black paper to test the whites?
I do.
Here's a graphite gray that's dry, and it looks very much like a pencil drawing.
Mm. Has anybody tried adding graphite shavings into it?
No,
No.
this
Into
is
I
a
think
stick.
a
the
bit
white?
This was done with a stick.
I think that's the one I was thinking of. What I mentioned earlier.
Ian,
Yes.
what did you ask, please? Did you say if we try to put some shavings of graphite into?
Yeah, into the paint to see whether it makes it granulate a little bit more.
But
Because obviously,
what paint? Any paint?
the graphite one, the graphite paint,
Ah, okay, okay.
because graphite naturally is very water resistant,
Uh-huh.
so you might get some resist.
I have one product that's a graphite pencil that's water soluble. So I
Yeah,
wonder if you could take the shavings from that and drop that in also.
But there is a brand in Portugal that they have graphite, powdered graphite or solid that you can dissolve in your brush.
Always be careful when using graphite in powder form. No.
So Ian, this picture has Joseph's warm gray at the top.
Yeah. Right.
And then down here is the neutral tint gray.
So it's blended quite nicely that with it, hasn't it? It don't over contrast. If it, you know what I mean, it don't stand out like as though it's not being done in one piece, as it were.
No. Yeah, it's all about water management versus pigment load.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Next to these grays, I'm going to put the titanium gray. Geo probably has the example with the black paper, possibly.
So I have a question for any of you.
Yes.
I love to do paintings, night paintings. And I tend to have to do the skies multiple times, and I don't know if that's the best way to do it, or if I should be doing just darker mixes of my paint. Do any of you have any suggestions for me?
Solulite.
What did you say?
Okay. Solulite is a nice dark color for nocturnes. This color
Solulite?
right
How do you
So
spell
delight.
that?
Sodalite.
Sodalite.
Oh, soda. Oh, okay. Sodalite.
And it's right
Mm.
here
Okay.
next to
Sodalite genuine. Thank you.
I use Moonglow.
Okay.
Thank
you.
I mean, it depends on how you want to do your painting, but you could do a all-in-one strong painting with indigo, but it'll be very blue.
Okay.
Very strong blue, yes.
Thank you for the suggestions.
You could put a little bit of brown in it to like
Uh-huh.
knock it back a bit.
Okay.
But best way to like build up darkness is look at it almost like a daytime picture. The mountains in the background, and then come forward a bit and come forward a bit, and keep putting dark layers until you got it that dark that it's.
Okay.
You create an almost an atmosphere, which it is. It's just a dark atmosphere.
Okay. Thank you.
I would like to encourage the possibility of using lunar black because it's transparent, so you can pop in the radiating lights, but then be aware of the granulation. So be strategic with that.
There are many colors in the sky, so you can just play with them and experience and just, you know, look at the sky and play and put colors. And that is the only way to know what to use.
Okay, thank you. Because sometimes they end up looking sort of flat, and that's my problem. So thank you for the suggestions. I appreciate that.
So dark skies, right? All they really are is an absence of sun. Now we as humans, we have man-made lights, and that is what takes over at night. So there's all sorts of different types of lights. You know, we can make reds and blues, and that has an effect around the surrounding area of that light. So that's another thing you need to take into account, is that it's not just going to be one wash of one color. It's going to interact with other man-made light sources and create atmosphere.
Right. Thank you.
I enjoy studying Eastern calligraphy, and they feel that you only need the color black because that's the only color you need in your palette. You don't need to even stretch out to others. It's okay to just study that color deeply because every color is present in black. So don't be afraid of the colors. And we can also celebrate the single note.
Oh, wow.
Saw a show one time of night paintings, and I was amazed at how many of them were green. And so when I had an instructor that told me to use my black in plein air painting to make my darkest greens, you know, lay the black in and then go back in with, you know, like lemon yellow or Hensa yellow light. And they turn green. But the main thing about it is it begins to act like a, it will lift out the color in a lot of the blacks. The yellow will. And that's the way I saw the paintings that the night was, not that I achieved it, but that's the way the green was used. It was created out of black in the night paintings. But that's what I'm doing with, you know, right here as I'm sitting here and painting the blacks that I have and then going into it right now with the Hansa yellow. And this one I did the lemon yellows. But they're, you know, very powerful. The ones that turn green are very are strong, beautiful greens. So I can see myself doing a night sky with them.
So this is the Chinese white buff titanium. This titanium white. And so the Chinese white is not quite as opaque as the titanium white. And it's slightly warmer than the titanium white. So, yeah. What's left?
We had a request on Facebook to compare McCracken black with lamp black.
John,
Yes.
is Chinese white the same as nickel white?
No.
No. That's very transparent, isn't it, nickel white? It's more used in oil painting, isn't it?
I don't think we have nickel white in oil, but that
It's
could
not.
possibly, that could very possibly be, yes.
I think it's an old white before we got things like titanium and various other things.
May I ask, Giovanni, do you mind bringing that color closer to the screen again and just leaving it there a few more moments so I can see more clearly? Thank you. Of comparing the McCracken black with the lamp black. Thank you, Gio.
Yeah, this is McCracken and lamp.
Wow.
Sorry for my screen is very light, but lamp black is very strong.
Very matte and flat, that, isn't it?
So I grabbed in some value study pieces. This is the warm Joseph Zvukovich gray. This one is the cool. You can
That's just using
compare
that
the two. Just
that
the
one
one tube, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm either gonna use a warm gray, and this is a time of the day when it'd be even warm.
Mm-hmm.
So now here's a value study where I use lunar black. And now here's a nocturne I did using the Soto light right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're moving into some browns. This is burnt hematite mixed in with the solulite. And then going back to the solulite, which is much darker. And then we got something completely different with how the lights of the city of the sky made this sky almost orange. And then the lighting of these stones made those stones more golden. And then we have a nice mixture of hematite with some neutral tint.
Is it an underpainting, that colour, or is that just the natural way it went?
Sorry?
Is it an underpainting of yellow, or is that the natural way that
I
the tint went?
I tinted this first with quinacridone gold.
Mhm.
So I killed my white
Yeah.
in order, I don't know if it's showing, it's almost orange. So yes, just like what Stella was saying, depending on what's surrounding the areas of other things, could be a red light or other lights, green lights that are for the boats to know which way to go in and out of an area that can affect the sky as well. It's good stuff.
Thank you.
All right, so that's the grays, the blacks, the whites. So probably it's always a good thing to know that even natural versus synthetic, most things that are in the natural world you can make synthetically, and they can look quite the same. So a synthetic graphite, it's really all about the pigment. And earth pigments tend to granulate, which is really nice. All right, flip this camera.
John,
Yes.
Maybe we could do this again sometime, but see what colors work well with them. You know, what mixes work well with the blacks and what mixes work well with the lighter colors.
Yeah, I think I'd be super open for all of you as viewers. If you want to show your work, would love to do that. I think the more people that we have showing their work, that'd be phenomenal. So yes, be very open to that.
Hopefully I've got a video coming out this week.
So next week we'll have Terry on Friday. We won't have anybody tomorrow. And I think we'll do the next series of colors. I'm thinking that we'll do reds, maybe reds and blues. So, or we can do families. Families are always interesting too. The parallenes, the pyrroles, the quinacridones. Can go either way. Oh, Stella says reds, please. So, okay, we'll do reds. I don't know if you've seen Stella's work, but the red poppies and the story that you guys told about that when we talked about the red poppies was wonderful. And we will have Terry next week, so that'll be pretty wonderful as well. It was good seeing all of you. Thank you. I hope you're getting at least some decent weather wherever you happen to be. It is
where to watch here.
It's what?
Where to watch here? We've got no AC either. Look at me. I'm wilting.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking part. Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you, Anna Marie. Thank you, Giovanni. Thank you, Ethel. Thank you, Ian. And countless others that are watching. Thank you so much. And everybody on Facebook, sorry I couldn't see. Bye, Mark. Bye, Kathleen. Bye, Belle.
Bye, all.
Thanks, Al.
Bye.